Hi everyone! As you already know, I'll be explaining my Webtoon process in depth. I've gotten a lot of questions asking me to explain my paneling in more depth or why I make certain creative decisions for my Webtoon. So hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions in this video. Before you kick off, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Webtoon videos from me. Let's talk about Workspace. So this is where the magic happens. Just kidding. It's a practical drawing setup with a digital tablet, stylus, and my iPad. Efficiency is the key here. It's not much, but it works for me. It just shows that you don't need fancy, expensive equipment to start making art. Even my iPad itself is secondhand, so I don't want to hear any comments saying that my iPad is expensive or yada yada yada. And so my main drawing tablet is my Huion Kamvas 13. I bought it for less than $300 and I've had it for nearly 2 years now. It's still pretty good. Though I do plan on upgrading to a bigger screen, maybe a 16-inch screen in the future. So I have more drawing space for me to work. But as of right now, I'm pretty happy. I'm also broke right now, so I can afford a new tablet anyway. I also bought a table recently. It's a standing desk, so when I get tired from sitting for so long, I can just click this button and the table would rise. I bought it from Shopee from this brand called South Wales for like 680 ringgit or around $150. So it is pretty affordable compared to other more known brands. Now on to research and reference. I gather references, color palettes, and character inspirations. It's like building a visual library. I use Pinterest to search for clothing references and get inspired. You can find many similar images and aesthetic clothes there. So since I make a fantasy-based webtoon, I can be more creative with some of the outfits I draw my characters in. But like, so annoying because it's extremely time consuming and I'm not the most creative person out there. But it really depends on the scene itself. Most of the time, my main character, Zachary, is just wearing a plain white nightshirt and plain trousers. If the outfit is more complicated and detailed, I usually make a character sheet for them, like this for example. I use a 3D model as its base, and using multiple references I've saved, I take what I like and just draw the outfit. I use a lot of brushes for the more complicated patterns and accessories. This, I know some people say, oh, this is cheating or this is not art. Bro, come on, be realistic here. We can't draw every single thing, okay? Most professional artists do this too, and you just consume it happily, so you can't take the higher ground here. Alright, continuing on. Most if not all are from the Clip Studio Paint Asset Store. So since I'm a brush hoarder, I'll literally check the top ranking brushes every single day and download the ones I might use in my webtoon. So here are some of my favorite brushes that might help you to draw your clothes. Let's get into the scripting and planning phase. Before the drawing begins, I map out the story, dialogues, and the layout. It's the backbone of a solid webtoon. The way I write my script is to just write down and blurt out whatever idea I have, like it's a light novel. The best way is to imagine your story like it's a movie playing out. If you can visualize what and how your characters act and say, then it would make the storyboarding part a lot easier. My scripts are usually just dialogue. I don't even bother to put quotation marks because I want to save time. And I don't attach each dialogue or like speech bubble to one specific panel. For me, I don't know for anyone else, but personally, I find it very restricting, and that usually breaks the flow of the story. So I add new dialogue or change scenes as I draw my storyboard. So here's an example of my script and final product side by side. Because I don't put too much detail in my scripts, my storyboard is all from my imagination, though I'll explain my thought process more later. One whole chapter is around 60 to 70 panels, and I split them up into 3 episodes to post on Webtoon and Tapas every 10 days. This is the only way I can post somewhat consistently without burnout. I say somewhat because I have taken short breaks from my Webtoon every couple of months, but honestly, I don't know how Webtoon creators even function. It's like I can't even like draw every single day, but these creators can do it for like 12 hours a day or even more. I can't do that. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the potential to even be an originals, if I even get the chance. I use Clip Studio Paint to create my webtoon. There are 2 versions of it, the Pro and the EX version. I'm using the EX version on my Windows laptop. That's because there are more features to it, especially for comic making and animation. Like making multiple pages combined in one file, extending the size of the canvas, and so much more. I do recommend the EX version if you have extra money to spare. So you can buy it during the sale when it's usually like 50 or 60% off. But even with the Pro version, you can achieve the same high quality outcome as with the EX. The EX version is just for convenience sake. As you can see, I have tons of brushes that I use. Some I download using once and never to ever use it again because I forgot about it. Oh, by the way, I know that some of y'all are going to ask how I did this to organize my brushes, so I'll just briefly explain it. We'll have to make a new image with a resolution of 300 by 300 and color, pick the background color, then label whatever you want it to sort as. I put my most basic brushes under base and label everything else as what I use it for. Then use any brush that you don't use and change its tool icon by right-clicking it, subtool settings and user settings. Then pick the image you've made and voila! Now on to the fun part, which is the work process. So there are basically 4 main steps in my webtoon process. So the first one is storyboarding. During the storyboarding scene, I would place the text bubbles and the dialogue that I've already planned out in my script so that I can save more time. Because to me, when I place the text bubbles, I can already visualize how much space is needed in between the panels so that it flows smoothly. One main thing that I really dislike about some webtoons is that they don't space out the panels and it really looks cramped, and it really disturbs your reading experience. So we don't want to turn off the readers, right? So we just have to know how to space each panel from one another so that when you're scrolling on your phone, it's a nice experience. And after the storyboarding is line art, the most dreaded part of my process. I've already explained. I don't like to explain so many times because I've already made a whole video about it. So I basically just use the vector layer to line my panels. You could watch my previous videos. I think how to make a webtoon video. I already explained it. Yeah, go watch that after this video. After I do flats. So flatting is basically coloring with the base colors that we already have. I've already like put it in the color sets so that I don't have to make a character sheet for each one of them. I don't actually have that many characters, so it's not really a big deal. So it's not really complicated for me to just put all the colors in just a color set that I made just for myself. I mean, other people can make character sheets if it's more convenient for them, but for me, man, I'm actually quite lazy, so I don't do that. I make stuff efficient and easy for me. So after that is rendering, which is just shading and lighting. And shading and lighting, when it comes to shading and lighting, we have to make it as simple as possible. I've figured out an easy, efficient method to shade and light, but honestly, some people don't even shade and light, and I want to do that, but I think with my art style it would look so bland. But like obviously some panels I don't shade because it doesn't, I mean, let's be honest, we as readers, like I'm including myself, we don't actually look at the panels for more than a few seconds. Not even seconds, maybe even a half a second, so they wouldn't notice. But I mean, it's for me. I want to make it look nice. I want to be proud of what I do. So yeah, put extra effort into shading it. And then I edit it, which is basically like proofreading it. Honestly, I have to admit, this part I'm not the best at it, because sometimes when I upload my webtoon, there's like spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes that I overlooked, and it's quite embarrassing actually when people point out in the comments. And yeah, what can I do? I'm just one person and I'm broke. I don't have money to pay people to edit for me. It's fine. I mean, some people actually volunteer to edit my episodes, but honestly, I don't know. I like having control over my webtoon. Like, I don't like people like butting in, like especially like people who know me in real life, when they ask me about my webtoon and like, oh, like I can help you like color it or like draw it for you. I'm like, bruh. Oh yeah, especially when they offer, like not offer, they just say, oh, I think you should put this in your webtoon. I'm like, bruh, is it my story? Is it your story? It's mine, okay? So I plan, it's my story. I decide on what to put. Yeah, like I'm pretty possessive. Very possessive of my own story. I actually don't know what to explain, so I made a Q&A on my Instagram. Oh my god, sorry. I made a Q&A on my Instagram broadcast channel. Like, you guys should join. It's for free. I'm probably gonna be more active there than my Instagram stories, because I don't know, man. I feel like more people get to see what I actually post or update on my broadcast channel, and there's less people, so I feel like the public eyes won't be like staring to me and watching my every move. Like, it's more personal, more intimate. Alright, so the first question is panels and how I shift scenes smoothly and switch dialogue. Alright, how I shift scenes smoothly. Do I shift scenes smoothly? I don't know if I do, but I'll just explain like my thought process on how I shift, like I draw my storyboard. Like I said before, I like visualize my webtoon as if it's like an anime or like a movie. Have you analyzed movies and the lighting and the scenes before? Like, it's so interesting, because if you want to see like amazing examples, is like Studio Ghibli movies. They're like amazing. just watch any drama, actually, any drama that is highly praised, and just observe how they do the scenes and the dialogue. So basically, if I want to focus on my character, Zachary, obviously I'm gonna focus on his face, right? So we know who's thinking, we know who's talking. And so usually I would just do a narrow, smaller panel on his face, and then when I shift and when someone else is talking, obviously I'm gonna do another panel and focus on that person. Easy. I think that's an easy way to explain it. And when we want to introduce a background, I usually use a really wide panel so that we can see the whole background. And yeah, we have to use backgrounds, okay? Don't make your characters exist in a white plane or background, because that's gonna be confusing and it looks lazy. So yeah, include backgrounds every so often. You don't have to do every panel. Okay, what else? I think I explained it okay. I don't know. If you have any other questions, just comment below. Next is, what's your process of writing the dialogue? Honestly, I just talk to myself. If it sounds, it always sounds better in your head, right? So we have to speak it out. You have to talk to yourself. You have to embody your own character. I am Zachary. Actually, a lot of the things he says is something I would say in real life. But also, he's a man, okay? So he's gonna say some crazy stuff, and he's gonna think some, that scene where he looked downstairs under his pants. Yeah, that's something I imagine a guy would do, but I'm not actually sure a guy would do that, but based on the comments, it seems like it's realistic. So yeah, that was interesting. So basically, yeah, I just talk to myself, I monologue a lot, and I imagine how people would react. Think of the character's personality, backstory, their relationship with other characters, and try to imagine how they would react to maybe someone confessing them. Yeah, you should do that. You should write down basic reactions so that we know your own character's personalities and how they would react. I wouldn't say, now thinking about it, I wouldn't say Zachary is my self-insert because he's a bit more crazy than me. But the good thing about main characters is that they're kind of a mirror to the author themselves. If you want to know how crazy the author is, just look at the characters they make. That's my conclusion. Third question is, what's your webtoon called? Oh, it's called Woes of a Male Lead on Webtoon and Tapis. You can read it for free. Next is draft character designs before designing a character. Were any scrapped? Actually, now thinking about it, I used nearly all of my character's original designs. Actually, the Crown Prince had blue eyes in the beginning. He didn't have red eyes. Let me try to see if there's... Or maybe it's my old laptop. I'll put an image of it right on the screen if I find it. Yeah, and actually Zachary's design right now is his second design. He was a lot paler in his first design, and his hair was he was Crown Prince Alexander, pale blonde hair. Yeah, he had blonde hair. Crazy, right? His signature red hair did not exist. Next character is Daphne. Daphne had a different design. Yeah, Daphne looked a lot different than her early designs. I think she had darker hair. Yeah, I wanted to make her look unique, but you know what? I'm not creative. I said that before. I'm not a creative person, so I'm going to have to use cliche, already done character designs. I never claimed to be an illustrator. I'm just a college student wanting to do webtoons because it was fun for her. But now it's kind of become like a job that I'm being underpaid for. Oh my god, I'm kind of feel like I'm being overworked, but this is my choice. I have to continue finishing it. I want people to know the ending. I already know the ending. I'm not going to spoil it because why would I spoil my own webtoon, okay? Next is who was my favorite character to make? Obviously Zachary. I love drawing him. He's the easiest to draw anyway. His hairstyle, his eyes, his character, his expressions, I already like imagine everything because he's like I said before, he's kind of based off me. So it's kind of fun to make him. How do I organize character and world development? Yeah, so before I started my webtoon, I already wrote down like the general outline and general world of my story. So because it's a fantasy based isekai world, like people already know how it's going to be, right? I also didn't actually like write down every specific thing. Like I know there's going to be the sun god and the moon god and all that. That's pretty general and pretty easy to make. Yeah, but like a lot of the world development is I added it after I created my webtoon with the forced marriage being forbidden in my webtoon world. Like I added that as I was creating the episode because I was like, oh my god, this actually helps with the plot in the future. Not everything was planned out in the beginning, and it's not a bad thing. Like if you can you can make it work, it's gonna flow smoothly. But some people can't really tie all the loose ends when they end this webtoon, and it's just going to be really confusing. So I hope that doesn't happen to me. But yeah, I do recommend people to like write down the details of the world and the characters before drawing your webtoon so that you yourself don't get confused. And as for the characters, yeah, I already like wrote down like the age, the personality, the relationships before making the characters. Next is what's my favorite way to add shadows? My favorite way is to just choose a somewhat saturated warm color and just shade the skin and actually shade the whole character, and then alpha lock it, then airbrushing with a cooler color on the clothes and darker red on the hair. Yeah, I think I already made a tutorial for it, so you could just watch it. How to draw line art neatly or any anatomy tips? The best way to draw line art cleanly for me is to use a comfortable brush. I switch brushes every few panels. If you read my webtoon, you could clearly see the brush differences in every few episodes, because I'm just like, I love downloading brushes, man. I love experimenting. So I do recommend using the vector layer to draw. You can watch it in my webtoon shortcuts. I don't remember which, but like any of the 3 videos I've already uploaded, I mentioned how I do line art or any anatomy tips. I'm not good at drawing anatomy. I don't think I'm good at it. So I use the 3D models that Clip Studio Paint has to draw. And anatomy tips that I can give is to use boxes. I don't know if this is the best tip, but I use like squares and circles. Yeah, that's the best way I can say. Quick lighting tips on how I go through it. Lighting. Yeah, I like to use the screen mode and the add glow mode on Clip Studio Paint to do my lighting. That's all I do. that sucks, man. I suck at giving tips, I swear to God. Honestly, I usually look at lighting references on Pinterest, but most of the time, lighting is not really a focus in my drawing process. Yeah, sorry, I can't really help you on that one, but just look at a lot of manhwa and webtoons that are officially published and see how they do it and just copy them. That's what I did. How far are we in the story until the ending? We are very far from the ending. We have not even reached the middle. We are still in the first arc. But because the first arc is Zachary getting used to the world, and he's still getting used to the world. He's like, more characters are being introduced, and he's still going to build a relationship with other characters. And freaking Dahlia, the female lead, isn't even introduced yet. Oh my god, she's not introduced yet. Like, she's there in the memories, but that's not Dahlia. Like, that's not the Dahlia in the story. I haven't introduced her yet. Oh my god. Okay, I need to upload more, man. Next is, how did I come up with the story? Woes of Male Lead is basically the story that I want to read, but no one has created it. Like, I know people say, oh yeah, Trash of the Camps Family, or how the build estate developer thing. I forgot the name, it's too long. What else? People have said like, oh yeah, there are already these stories. I'm like, yeah, I've read all of them. My god, you think I didn't? It's like kind of annoying though that people are like, oh yeah, we already made a story like this. I'm like, bro, what you mean? There's no romance in any of these stories. Like, I want romance, but I also want the main character being a male, being isekai'd, and I just want him to go through suffering and with comedy and shenanigans. Like, I want that. I want my story to be told to the world, and apparently people like it as well. So yeah, that's how I came up with it, because I was disappointed at the lack of variety in the manhwa world. Next, how are you? I'm sorry, but I haven't read your webtoon due to my work. It's fine, you don't need to read my webtoon. You can read it whenever you're free. How are you? I am pretty okay. I feel very demotivated nowadays though. I don't know, man. Maybe it's due to my hormones, but nah, I'm just very demotivated. But hopefully I get out of this rut. Any tips with choosing fonts or speech bubbles? My tip is to be like everyone else. Don't choose random fonts on the internet because you think it looks pretty. Just be like everyone else. Try to search up the most popular fonts. I think one's called Anime Ace. Yeah, just go with that one. You don't need to be special. Because it's like, you go with what everyone else is doing because you want to look like a professional. Yeah, you don't want to stand out with odd fonts because that's going to turn off readers. So my best tip is just to choose a default and normal font. You can use the ones that I'm using. I think I mentioned it before in my previous video. Just go binge watch all my videos because I don't like repeating. Any tips? Oh yeah, and speech bubbles. Yeah, I just used the default one in Clipstudio Paint. Easy peasy. Is the current story your first iteration, or what ideas did you scrap? Oh my god. My first story was crazy. Actually, okay, I found it. Zachary wants to be a traveler. This is just points, alright? Zachary wants to be a traveler. Father disapproves. Wants him to take position in the government. He has the potential to be better. Example, Royal Guard. And then there's an arrow. Too lazy. Yeah, I can't read my handwriting. Yeah, and so the first arc, Josiah tries to understand the world around him with the help of system. And then in brackets, Richard. And then Dick. Oh yeah, I can't read the rest because it's gonna be spoiler. Yeah, so like Zachary himself is already pretty different. So he's going to do the route of being a royal guard because he's bound to this system. Most of the stories are in my head. I don't write it down because I can remember it. Like, hopefully I can remember it, yeah. Next, let's just go with the next question. Hi sis, do you write down the whole plot before drawing? Oh yeah, I think I answered this. No, I don't write down the whole plot. I visualize the main plot points in my head and then I just go episode by episode. That's how I do things. I can't imagine the whole plot because then it would limit myself and limit my creativity that I already have lack of. Next is, how long have you been using Clip Studio Paint? I tried it and it's so hard. Yeah, in the beginning it is really hard. 2019 I started drawing digitally, but I didn't use Clip Studio Paint at that time. I used Sai and Medibang Paint. I don't like Medibang Paint personally because I find the brushes quite uncomfortable. And Sai, I stopped using it. It's good. I like the first episodes of my first webtoon was using Paint Tool Sai, but it has really limited features for comic making. So I switched up to Clip Studio Paint in 2020. So I've been using it for 3 years. Yeah, that's some time to get used to it. Yeah, you just have to like practice and watch a lot of tutorials. You just have to use it a lot to get used to it. I'm sorry, that's the best way I can say it. Next question is, will there be more boys? Yeah, obviously. I draw more boys. I love men. I love hot men. Next is, how do you draw backgrounds? Do you use 3D models? Yes, I use 3D models because I am lazy. I don't care what people say. I will use it and I will spend money on it. Thank you very much. There's a more detailed process of how I use the SketchUp for my backgrounds in my previous video. So yeah, go watch that. Are you use 3D models? How to use 3D model? Oh yeah, just watch my old video. Oh my god, I can't keep saying this. Yeah, I use SketchUp. I don't know what else to say. I love you so much. Your art is so good. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Honestly, I'm not used to receiving compliments till now. It feels weird. Feels like I don't deserve it. Like, I know, personally, I know it's good for myself, but like when people say it like with such fervor, it's a bit, I'm not used to it. Is some of your art inspired by some TV shows? Not TV shows. Okay, in the beginning, my art style was very inspired by Attack on Titan, but I'm not gonna show that because that was when I was like 10, 11 years old. Oh, those were some ugly ass drawings, man. Oh my god. And then I got inspired by Hetalia. And now, have you guys read Broken Ring, This Marriage Will Fail? A lot of my shading and lighting application is inspired by the art in that webtoon. So I would say it's mostly inspired by that webtoon. But not TV shows, because I don't really watch TV shows actually. I mostly read novels. Okay, that's all the questions I have here. I think that's all from me. If you have any other questions you want me to answer, just comment below. I'll just answer it there because I think I've talked about a lot already on my webtoon process in this video. I have to edit so much out. My god, I've been speaking for 30 minutes. Yeah, if you want to support me, you can donate on my Ko-fi page. I'll link it down below. Or if you want to read extra episodes ahead, you can become a patron member. Thank you for watching my video. Have a great day, and hopefully I will upload more in the coming future next year. Goodbye.